Hey folks, welcome back to the Metal Mill 52 workshop. My name is Bill. This is my shop. We're building a Raritan Riding Car, flat car, and here are the castings that they all came in here. The only things I haven't used yet are the wheels and the brake ring, but we'll come back to that. So in this episode this week, in the first episode, we showed fitting the bolsters and spring planks together. This episode covers a lot of the tricky stuff with making the brake brackets and the hangers that we need. There's a tricky thing with a 15-degree angle that's in the plans that you'll see. So I'll show how I made this handy jig, that 15-degree jig. And I'll show how I used it in making the brake brackets and so forth, and setting the angles for machining these things, these little special clevises. So, pretty interesting episode, pretty covering some things that are not very clear in the plan. So I think this will be very useful to you. As always, if you have any questions, please ask. I'll do my best to answer. If you don't have any questions, please give me a thumbs up. It encourages me to keep producing the videos. Thank you. Well, it's Friday night and it's just a little bit warmer out here since I wrapped up the intro, or the part 1 section. So last night, after I finished that, taping those little segments, I did cut out from the 3/32 inch material that I had, which is only a small amount of it. I cut out the longer strip and the shorter levers, and then what I've done is crazy glued the two of them to blanks together so that I can drill the holes simultaneously and it'll be a matched pair. So the crazy glue is drying on there now, and then I've got this sheet of 16 gauge or 60 thou steel. That's the closest I've got to the 1/16 inch steel for the remaining, the 8 other hangers. So I've just marked off with the calipers and the blue Sharpie. I've marked off a 16th inch strip, so I'm going to cut that, then I'll mark off another one and cut that, and hopefully that'll be enough. I'll cut off enough so that I've got enough material for 8 hangers. Then I can cut them in segments that are about 1 1/16 inches long, and I'm going to glue those pairs together, so I'll have 4 smaller pairs of the thinner material that these will be the hangers that actually hold the brake shoes and everything. So that's my objective tonight, is get those things cut out, get all the pairs glued together, and then I should be able to drill the holes that are needed. It's number 29 holes. It's simple on these thicker ones. These are for the levers, and there's a variety of different size holes on the thinner, the 1/16 inch steel. So we'll get those cut out and get started on that, and I'll bring you back and show you the progress. Okay, I'm out here on Saturday night, and hate to admit it, but I goofed up the first little batch of hangers. I made them too short, so I didn't realize it until I started marking out the spots for the holes. So I made a new batch, and they're ready to go. Then I've got the levers, the 3/32 inch material levers. I've got their holes marked out, and while I was waiting for the crazy glue to dry on the new batch, I cut out the brake rods for the 4 1/4 inch long 3/16 inch material. They're like the brake bars that will hold the brake shoes on the ends. And I don't know if I videoed this or not, but I got the 1/4 inch steel and marked out for the brake brackets. So now we'll go over to the mill and just drill these holes, the proper size holes for all 8 of these hanger brackets. Well, yeah, I just finished the last of the sets of brackets that will hold the brakes. As you can see, they're, different size holes and stuff, and the soft jaws definitely came in handy. So now I need to deburr the back side, but what's nice is that these things will all be matched pairs. Let me show you the others. One of them came apart in the process. This one did not. So this one did, obviously. So I'll just deburr them a little bit, clean them up, and round the edges better now that they've all been all the holes are drilled. So you can do that. Now we'll do the other set, the 3/32 inch thick levers. Just a recap of the night's events and progress. So we've got all the little brake hanger things done. I've sanded and rounded them on the belt sander. Same thing with the levers. I cut out the brake bars, the 4 1/4 inch, 3/16 inch steel, and I've also drilled the holes in the brake brackets and kind of laid out where they need to be cut. I haven't cut this part off yet, or obviously I haven't milled the bottom either. But I found my 15 degree, or my little degree angle things. I've been trying to figure out how I can use these to mill or cut away the material there. The Sharpie marker indicates the material that needs to be cut away. Obviously the angle's not quite exactly right, but just wanted to do that while I was thinking about it, while I was looking at the pictures in the diagrams inside the prints. So we'll tackle that tomorrow and continue on with maybe tomorrow will be clevis day. So we'll see. I'll bring you back for that. Okay, beautiful day outside. The snow and ice have melted and things are getting back to normal here. So happily, I've got some time out here in the workshop today. It's Sunday, and I'm going to work on the next. I wanted to get this done today because one of the most perplexing items is the little angled slots on the bracket, the brake shoe bracket. And whenever I'm confronted with an unusual situation like this, my go-to is to search the internet and especially YouTube videos. Joe Pye has great videos about complicated things like this, and one of the things he showed was trigonometry. It's a relatively short video. I highly encourage everybody to look at it, but about milling angles, and he shows you how to create your own sign plate basically. That gave me the idea to create a jig for this purpose. So I consulted my scrap bin here, and I've got this piece that what I'm going to do is mill this down. I'm going to put this in my vise with 15 degree composite little angle strips. I'll show you in a minute. I can put this in the vise and then I can mill this off flat. So it's hypothetically going to a 15 degree point down there, but it's giving me, I can set it in the vise like this and set this material on top of it. Once I bandsaw off the little arm here, bandsaw this off, and I can have this sticking over the edge and do the work on the protruding leg, if you will. Then once that's done, for the drilling portion, I can set this in the vise. I'm going to have to do a second milling operation. I'll do this all at once to create the jig. But you can see what's going on here. I'll set this in the vise, this end up, and this gives me my 15 degrees here. I'll have to cut off and mill this off flat, so I have a 90 degree to a theoretical 90 degree angle there, if that makes sense. That'll rest on the bottom of the vise. This will stick up into infinity, and I can put the part that needs to have the drilling done. I can put that on like this, and then the drill will come down perpendicular to the little tabs there. So that makes sense. So first thing, we'll make the jig, and then we'll start the process here. I'll bring you back as we go along. All right, here's that block that I had just showed a second ago. I've got little angle things that create a 15 degree angle, so I'm using that to set and give me the basis, and the vise will hold it, clamp it nice and tight. I'm just going to take a skim cut off the top of there till I get it perfectly smooth, and then like I said, then I'll know I'll have the theoretical 15 degree angle there. Okay, so far so good on making the jig, the first cut. Only had to take off about 100 thou to clear that up. So before I remove this, I'll file off all the sharp edges by hand. Then I'll take it out, mark off that 90 degree angle for the new base, and file that, and then we'll put it back in and mill it, and I'll bring you back and show you the finished product. Alright, here's that second surface that we'll be able to use as the base for the second for the drilling operation. And I'll show you again. See, I've got my 15-degree angle plates in there, so looking good. We'll take it out, deburr it, and we'll see about the setup for the actual brackets. Mostly so I don't forget what I've got here. I marked this 15 degrees, and you can see, so that's the nice jig that should give us what we need to get going on the brackets. So now I'll cut off the legs and I'll reconfigure the mill for the small milling and drilling operations. So here's the setup. We've got the 15-degree angle block underneath there. I took the soft jaws off. I've got my super duper steel monster jaws in place, and I'm just going to try this. Obviously I'll take that giant cutter out and put a tiny one in, probably nothing bigger than a 1/4 inch or so, and I'm going to just gently mill off. I'll start with the outside here and then do the inside, and I'm not even, obviously because there's not much holding the blank here against that monster jaw. That's why I put the monster jaw in, because it's steel and massive and strong, but still it's just a sliver of material being held there. So I'm just going to take it really very easy. The outsides, I mean, the only critical one is the upper one, because that's where the drilling goes into. So the bottom one here, or the inside portion, that's where the nut will be, if you will, or the washer for the pin that holds that lever. So I'll take it easy. I'm not even going to go all the way down. I don't want to jam my cutter into the monster jaw, so I'll set my depth so I don't mill. I'll leave a little lip there, is what I'm trying to say, like 5 thou or 10 thou, and I'll just file that off, no big deal. And I think I'm going to stop at that point and then drill. I'll reposition everything and then drill the needed hole here before I revert to this setup, and drill down and mill out the slot, if you follow me, because it'd be tempting to mill the slot at the same time, so I have this set up. The problem is that if you mill a slot and then you try to drill across it, your drill can wander and your alignment will be off. So it'd be best practice to do it in a couple of separate setups. Not a big deal. These are times to have fun and enjoy the process. Okay, the first setup did not work good. Every time I would mill in a little bit, it would lift up, so I wasn't actually getting the kind of hold that I needed. So I went back to the setup that I was going to use for the drilling, and that's satisfactory. As you can see, I've got a nice 15-degree angle on there, so I'm going to file that and mark it out. And speaking of drilling, I'm going to go ahead and drill. Well, actually, to save time on setup, I'll probably go ahead and mill the other one just like this, because I know that's got to get done. It'll be simple to set that up. Then I'll switch over and drill the 1/8 inch hole down that needs to go through, and then I'll have to reassemble the setup so that I can drill the center and mill out the center slot. That's going to be the trickiest part of this operation, I think. So we'll see how it goes. Okay, both of the ears have the cutoff and one flat milled anyway. And what I've done here, I've marked off it's 5/32 of an inch from the top where the hole is supposed to go, and an 1/8 inch in. So I've marked it and I've center punched it here, and I'm getting ready to use the edge finder to pick up that hole. Then I'll lock down the table and I can go ahead and drill my hole. And obviously I'm not going to drill all the way through, I don't even need to, but pretty deep in there. And then we'll worry about the slot and milling away or grinding away the extra later. There we go. Alright, this is the second one. See if I can zoom in. Ooh, look at that. Thank you, Russ. Look how cool that is. Let me zoom out a little bit for the focus. So the second one, I drilled the hole about 300 thou deep. Let me go back to a normal setup and I'll show you the other part. Where'd it go? Over here with the drawings. So as you can see, I didn't go all the way through. I didn't want to hazard it on the soft jaws, but I mean the monster jaws. So I think we're in good shape as far as those go. It's a good start anyway. Now we'll try to reconfigure, and my next thing I want to focus on is I was going to drill a couple of holes here and then mill out the slot. I think drilling will give me a good reference, a good starting point, and then we'll mill out, if we can, mill out the slot. The setup is really tricky with this dang, not much to grab a hold of there, so we'll see. So far so good on the setup. I'm actually relieved because it worked. What I've done, I drilled the 2 holes. These are number 28 holes, so 140 thou wide, and I've got all the way through just till it kisses the monster jaw down there, and got the 2 holes that now I've got to do is mill out the slot and then mill off the remaining portion here on the edge. So I'm going to try it in this setup here, and hopefully it will be all AJ squared away. The focus will be on milling it. The focus will be milling out the slot, of course. So I'll change out the setup here and put an end mill in, and let's see how it goes. I'll bring you back for that. Just finished milling out the slot. Finished as much as I'm going to go because I don't want to put a groove. I don't want to slam the mill, the little 1/8 inch end mill into the hard jaws there. So that came out pretty good. I mean, I certainly will need to file out the slot, but I'm pretty thrilled that I have the dimension, the angle, and everything that's needed. Sorry about my camera work. I'm still getting used to it. This is an awesome camera that Russ gave me to use for the YouTube videos. Sorry about the background noise. That's my rotary phase converter that's going. My Bridgeport is a 3-phase machine. So, all right, now we'll move over and mill off a little bit on the outside there, and I'll bring you back when this one is pretty much done. All right, here's the great reveal for the first one of the brake brackets. You know what's funny about stuff like this is you spend all day making something, and then when it's all said and done, this will just be covered up. Nobody will ever see it again, but I'm pretty pleased with the way it came out. The crazy little jig seemed to have worked, and it worked okay with the pressure going down and the drilling idea, and it worked all right for milling off that side for the most part for this side. However, I broke my dang end mill, and that was my last 1/8 inch end mill, so I'm kind of bummed about that. Nonetheless, I'm going to get busy on the other one. I can certainly drill, and I can use a 3/32 inch end mill to mill out those holes. So we'll see if we can complete the other one tonight. That's kind of my objective, to finish the 2 of these today. That'll be a productive day. So I will bring you back when we have that done. Yeah, I found another 1/8 inch end mill, and I thought this would make a pretty good shot here. You can see the end mill coming out. Just about done going through here. I'm going to lower it, say another 20 thou or so. Make one more pass cutting in, but working pretty good. Pretty happy with this setup. Thank you, Joe Pye. Look at that zoom. That's so cool. Thank you, Russ. Alright, this one came out a lot better. This is a nice high quality do-all high-speed steel end mill. It's strange, the one I broke a minute ago was a carbide. I think it was import, but anyway, really pleased by how that came out. So basically both of these are done, except for milling the bottom thickness down to 3/16. So I need to take off a little bit on either of those. Well, let's see if we can get that done tonight, and then we might just pack it in. Put the soft jaws back in, as you can see, and they're really handy for holding stuff like this. And I put in a large end mill and have just milled off the 1/16 of an inch, so got the base material down to 3/16. Actually just a little bit less than 3/16, but that'll be okay. A couple thou shy won't hurt anything. Pretty happy about that. And now we can take them, both of them, and do some final file touch-up work, and I'll show you the finished product in a few minutes. Alright, here's the finished brackets. Really pleased with how they came out. I mean, they're not works of art, but they will definitely be functional They look quite sturdy, and best of all, it looks like I got the angle exactly right, and I'm really pleased about that. So that'll hold the brackets over here. Excuse me, the bracket will hold these levers on one side, and then the other lever goes on the opposite side, obviously. So there's the 4 hangers and the 2 levers for each, and the brackets. I've cut out the little brake bars there. I need to get them to the final dimension and drill the center hole in them. That'll be easy to do next time when I come out. And then make a whole bunch of clevises. I found some 1/16 inch steel that I can use for the brake bars as well. And quite a project making these trucks, but hopefully this series is going to be very enjoyable. I'll say this much, there is no other Raritan Riding Car series on YouTube, so if anybody wants to build one, I know this will be helpful to you. So thanks again, everybody. I appreciate you being part of the journey. Okay, I've made the part. I drilled the side hole in it and made the slot, obviously. It's not cleaned up or anything. I've just filed it, just deburred it. So now I'm going to put it in the 5C collet chuck here. I put it in the lathe and turn the round parts. And I think there'll be enough of the square part left that I can get the angle on it for drilling the hole. That's kind of the test. So we'll bring you back once we've got the round parts formed in the lathe. Let me test out the zoom here. I've very carefully turned down the back side of my little test clevis, and I've got the 1/16 inch diameter and 3/16 inch diameter. You can see a little bit of the square sticking out. Now we'll take it out of the lathe and go over to the collet block and see if we can set it up for drilling. Okay, here's a mock-up of the finished assembly here, just testing the angles and so forth. This is the little, let me get a pointer. This is the test clevis that we made here with the angle drilled through it. You can see the silver, that's a brass 16th inch rod, kind of illustrate how the thing will be at an angle and the rod will be out to the side like that. So it worked well with the collet block, that idea, and now what I've got here, I've made up several blanks. I need to make 3 more. I don't know where the 3rd one is. I must have just knocked it on the floor or something, but I'm going to make up the 3 blanks. The process is cross drilling the 1/8 inch hole there, or slightly larger than an 1/8 inch, then drilling a number 28 hole about 70 thou back from where the slot's going to be on these, and then milling it out with a 16th inch end mill, and then that gives you enough space that, there we go, that's where the other one is. So it gives you enough space where you can file it out to a smooth 140 thou wide slot, and then putting it in the 5C collet block, or in the 5C collet, here we go, and then the lathe, and then turn the round part and then put it back in the block. And what I had set up with the angle, I'll use my little jig here, set the angle, and then turn it on its side, excuse me, like that, and I marked it up for drilling the actual hole. So 2 will be this, like this, and 2 will be with the hole coming through the other side. So now we'll go ahead and I'll make these other blanks and see if we can finish all these 4 special clevises. Let me zoom in here. Here's the second of the 4 special clevises that'll have the holes drilled at the 15-degree angle. So basically I'm just mass producing these things, so to speak, now. I'll turn the diameters of all the 3 remaining ones, and then I can use that 5C collet in the collet block to drill the appropriate holes. I'll bring you back when we're ready to set up for the drilling. Just to finish up on the setup, so I just finished drilling the hole in the front clevis, special clevis, and I've got them propped up like that. That's the angle they'll be at, which, as you can see, matches the angle for the bracket. So I did the rear clevis identical as I did the first one. So now I just need to drill the hole for the last one, which needs to match this. And I'll just show you the setup here. It's exactly the opposite of how I did before. I've got my 15-degree block here. I've got the clevis with the open end of it where I can see it, and then the angle is set, and I've locked it down in the collet block, and I've already marked where this side needs to be up for the drilling. So next thing, I'll take the file, I'll file a little flat there so it'll be easy for the center drill that I'm using, and then the number 52 drill. Thought I'd show a little actual live drilling here. So now I'm going to take out the number 52 drill, and I've got a 1/16 inch reamer I'll put in and ream the hole out. Okay, here's the 4 special clevises, and I've cut some pieces of 1/16 inch steel, stuck them in there in position for silver soldering, just to kind of mock up and make sure that I got the angles right. So hopefully you can see that that's how they need to be. But tomorrow I'll come back, I'll drill the holes in the little brake bars, drill the number 52 hole in there, cut off some pieces, and get everything ready to start silver soldering up these pieces. Here's a still shot of making the, just finished drilling out the last of the brake beams, and I just want to show the lineup of tools. I used a small end mill here to make a flat spot, then a center drill, and then for the 2 end holes I used a number 56 drill, and for the center hole a number 52. So that's where the little special clevis will fit in. And here's the ones that I've finished already over there. So now I'm going to go over to the lathe and turn the ends down. I think I'm going to make this the last segment of this week's episode. As you can see, I've completed a lot of the intricate parts, the funny little angles, as well as the hangers. I used 400 thousandths of an inch for the pins on the hangers, and they're not silver soldered yet, but I've got it all laid out, ready to go for silver soldering, hopefully tomorrow or this week. And let me show you. This is kind of cool how this looks. When you see it in real life, it's a lot more understandable about how it's supposed to work together. So I'm excited about the progress this week, and looking forward to a lot more next week. As always, if you have any questions, please ask. If you don't have questions and want to give me encouragement, please give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.